Welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all lands. I am Lunar D8, and I have novels 1, 2, 3, and 5 of the Berserk of Gluttony light novel series. It says here it's written by Isshiki Ichika. It's Ishiki Ichika. I'll put that in the title, and it says here it's illustrated by Fame, though all that name is in lowercase. But I'll probably just put that part in the description just because you want to use 100 letters or, characters, because it even counts spaces and punctuations, in a title. Otherwise, I probably would have had titles by this point that would have been the size of the entire screen. Like, there's times I've tried to type in a title for a video, and I'm like, yeah, you used 300 characters. Please shorten it to 100. I'm like, oh, oh. Anyway, that being said, each of these was about $15, so a bit much, but I decided I wanted to try it. What you're seeing right now is the picture of the novel 1 book, but I won't be reading the whole book in this video. And like I said, I don't have volume 4, so I don't know what I'll do when it comes to that. If I can find it online, maybe I'll read it that way. I don't know. But it's nice to have it visually in my hand, and of course, if there's any pictures in here, I'll try to find that on Google Images. If not, I can describe it. But this is meant for teen audiences. It says on the back, next to the price, on the barcode. But anyway, you see the front of it. The back of it just says, "He'll devour your soul." Fate Graphite is one of the Forsaken, cursed with the skill Gluttony. He is ever starving, never sated, until the day he kills a dying thief and devours the man's strength and his soul. The true hunger of Fate's gluttony is awakened, and if he can learn to control his power, he will at last be the master of his own destiny. Now, I do not know anything about this story aside from that. That's all I know. I haven't even read the back of the other visual novels. I have looked at the pictures because there's, busty women that are very sexy. So, yes, that may have influenced me buying it or not. It's not a hentai, but I really don't know what I would describe the genre as because, yeah, you guys know as much as I do. Heck, you may know more. But yeah, all I know is what you see right now and what I've already said. So, we're going to blindly read a light novel. I think so. But it says teen, so it can't be too violent or sexual or anything. So, it can't. So it should be, I don't know, the same level as, say, Dragon Ball Z? That's what I'm assuming. Okay, so let's hop into this. Okay, we have a nice picture on the inside of the... Okay, sword looks kind of like a cross. That looks pretty cool, actually. You have a better look at his outfit, and better look at her outfit. And, her sword looks pretty cool, too. Though the armor would have to be very uncomfortable like that. I understand it has to have a certain shape for certain things, but it's just... I don't know. I suppose sometimes stuff in anime is drawn in a way just to look cool, and not really in mind of practicality. Okay, we have a really cool picture here, which I will definitely try to find at some point. Heck, maybe at some point I might try to show this stuff off in a live stream one day. I just dislike being in front of a camera. Okay, but yeah, it's got a red moon, and this is actually really cool. This picture is amazing. So I could always try to show it off in a live stream at some point, but yeah, I kind of avoid doing that because I just don't like being in front of a camera. "It's the Lich, the corpse. Everyone get out of here." The cry came from a rugged, tough-looking adventurer who turned pale white and fled upon seeing my skull mask. People had recently taken to calling me the corpse, likely on account of how I was most often spotted alone on a mountain of goblin corpses. Now we have a picture of the main character wearing just normal clothes, and it looks like the woman on the front is wearing also normal clothes, though looks like it's set for a medieval time, though both their outfits look very nice, and looks like he's a little sad and she's slightly sad but smiling and hugging and comforting him. Let's see. Let me hear some words here. Lady Roxy, I think you can let me go now. What, already? My telepathy skill kicked in, and Lady Roxy's thoughts flowed through me. What a pity. But who's a good boy? Faye's a good boy. With that, Lady Roxy gently rubbed my head. Aw, that's adorable. Head pats. Okay, we have a table of contents. Chapter 1, The Forsaken. Chapter 2, The Darkness Comes Gluttony. From the Darkness. Chapter 3, Skill Study. Chapter 4, The Greed of the Black Sword. Chapter 5, Eat All the Things. Chapter 6, Behind the House of Heart. Chapter 7, Drowning in Hunger. Chapter 8, Starvation Boost. Chapter 9, A Feast. Chapter 10, The First Level. Chapter 11, Brief Respite. Chapter 12, Rumors at the Bar. Chapter 13, The Roxy Inspection. Chapter 14, The Corpse that Lurks on the Moonlit Nights. Chapter 15, The Marked Girl. Chapter 16, The Pluck and to Eat. Chapter 17, The Deranged Dog Howl. Chapter 18, Gluttony of Gluttonies. Chapter 19, A Greedy Way to Go. Chapter 20, An Oath, a Promise. Chapter 21, At the Crossroads. Chapter 22, Bright Blue Skies. Chapter 23, What Must Be Done. Chapter 24, The Second Level. Chapter 25, Departures. And then there's a side story called Of Roxy and Fate. And then there's an afterword. Okay? Chapter 1, The Forsaken. In this world, there existed the concept of levels. All living creatures started at level 1, and leveled up by collecting spheres, earned by defeating the monsters that ran rampant through the land. However, these monsters were incredibly dangerous, and not just anyone could defeat them. People capable of taking down monsters were called adventurers, men and women who wielded powerful attack skills. Skills were unique, special gifts from the gods awarded at the time of one's birth. Everybody had at least one, and they lived by the use of its power. Thus those with strong skills were chosen by the gods. That was what my dad taught me before he died. My skill was gluttony. As a skill, it was nothing but a problem, because all it meant was that I was eternally hungry. In the village where I was born, they called me a deadbeat and bullied me because of it. In this world, I was unnecessary. I was one of the forsaken. My dad had been my protector, but when illness took him, the village drove me out on account of my useless skill. I ended up in the kingdom of Seifort. At the time, my heart was full of hope. I was certain there'd be something I could do in a city so big, but I couldn't find a decent job, so I ended up working for daily wages as a gatekeeper. It was grueling work standing guard through the rain, wind, and snow. On top of that, the pay was abysmal. Truthfully, gatekeeping wasn't the work of commoners. It was supposed to be carried out by the kingdom's holy knights. However, because gatekeeping was considered 3D, dirty, difficult, and dangerous, high-ranking knights often hired day laborers to work in their stead. Hey, gatekeeper, you better not be slacking off on your shift, you hear me? The young trio of holy knights grinned, striding toward me in their glorious armor. They were the three siblings of Blurrak, one of Seifort's 5 esteemed families. They were also my bosses. The one who spoke to me was Raphael, the eldest. The tallest figure to his right was his youngest brother, Hado. Behind them was Memel, their sister and the youngest of the three. Each one was an outstanding holy knight in their own right, and the sight of their purple-haired heads sent chills everywhere they went. Among adventurers, holy knights were masters of special skills, imbued with holy attributes. Moreover, the title of Holy Knight was an honor bestowed upon only those of the highest status. With their powerful skills, blessed by divinity, holy knights could fight the strongest monsters and reach the highest levels in this world. When the powerful rose in level, their status and renown rose as well. Compared to peasants like myself, holy knights were an entirely different plane of existence. This meant that angering them was inevitably dangerous. "Yes, Lord Raphael Vlek," I said. Raphael disgusted me. I couldn't stand him. I knelt and bowed before him all the same. "Here's your daily wages." Raphael tossed a few copper coins at my feet. His siblings chuckled at the display of power. "Well, better hurry," he said. "I don't pay full rates to lazy, you know." He knew as well as I did, these wages were my life. I scurried to pick up the coins, but as I reached for the last one, Raphael stepped on my hand. "Oh, I'm sorry, is that a hand? It's so filthy I couldn't tell." He bellowed with laughter as he crushed my hand beneath his foot. "Oh yes, so unintentional." "Don't forget," Raphael continued, "that useless cretins like you work because of us. You are replaceable. Do you understand, or is the concept too difficult for a half-wit to fully comprehend?" "That's right," Otto said to me. "You're slacking off. Gatekeeping is a job of great honor that you're doing by our blessing. It used to be a volunteer position, but we're paying you out of the goodness of our hearts. So show those copper coins more respect, gatekeeper." "It really is just as my brothers say, you know," said Memel. "Your mistakes become our problems. If you make a single one, we won't let you off lightly." This was their idea of education. They crushed me into place. They drilled my status into the very marrow of my bones. I was the tiniest and weakest of living creatures, and because of the Velorics, I was allowed to keep living. Until I agreed with that, I wouldn't be permitted to pick up the last coin. If I fought back, I could say goodbye to gatekeeping. And if they even thought I was resisting, it might be goodbye to life, too. These master-slave conversations had gone on for more than 5 years. But if I tried to quit, Raphael and his siblings would go crazy with rage. They'd find some groundless accusation to pin on me. That was who they were. I was full of anger that had grown and simmered within me for over 5 years. Being forced to obey enraged me, and I resented the powerlessness that left me unable to do anything but listen. Just then my gluttony awakened and let forth a rumble from my stomach. A menacing look crossed Raphael's face, and he began berating me. "You wretched, loathsome muleworm. You're not even worthy of a gatekeeping position. Are you trying to tell me we didn't give you enough to eat? Are you trying to cast shame upon the great Vlek family?" And with that Raphael kicked me in the stomach, not using his full power, but it was still the kick of a holy knight. The difference between Raphael's stats and mine was like the difference between the sun and a guttering candle. The shock felt as if the kick had forced my insides out. I reaved on the ground, heaving up my guts as I struggled to catch my breath. In the pulsing, dizzying blur of my wavering consciousness, a voice I recognized as Memel's drifted to my ears. "Ew, how disgusting. He's like a maggot." "On your feet, gatekeeper. If you can't do your job, you'll make us look bad in front of the other holy knights." Raphael placed his foot on my head. "I said on your feet!" But it was impossible. The difference in our strength was too overwhelming. I couldn't stand until Raphael lifted his foot. He knew that too, and he clearly enjoyed watching me struggle under his weight. He leaned down further. My head felt like it would split from the pain. "Raphael, stop that immediately. You'll kill him. He's one of the people you're supposed to protect. Such behavior is unbecoming of a holy knight." Raphael grunted. "Roxy Hart. So you're the next on duty today." Roxy Hart was different from the other holy knights. She believed in protecting the weak from those who abused their strength, and her golden hair flapping in the wind was the very image of courage and valor. She had just saved me. The Harts were another of Cyford's 5 esteemed families, and they were well known for upholding the values of honesty and justice. For that reason the public adored Lady Roxy, and naturally I among her many devotees. As Lady Roxy glared in their direction, Raphael, Otto, and Memel threw curses and left. But as they did, Raphael looked back at Lady Roxy with a defiant grin. I knew that look, and I knew that face. It was spiteful and vindictive. Raphael was no doubt already considering how to get his revenge for this humiliation. Roxy paid Raphael no mind. Instead, she took my hand, helped me to my feet, and wiped my bloodied forehead with her handkerchief. Are you all right? Yes, I said. It's always like this. Thank you for helping me, Lady Roxy. No need for thanks. We're both gatekeepers. This is the least I can do. Anyway, your shift is over. I'll take it from here. I bowed deeply and passed Roxy my spear. It was adorned with a flag, upon which the royal family's coat of arms was embroidered. This spear was the sign of the gatekeeper. Roxy took it with due gravitas. She treated even 3D duties like this with respect and honor. It made her different from the other holy knights. It was this Roxy who took my hand in hers and spoke, with a worried look. If anything like this happens again, No, I can't cause you any further trouble. I'll be fine, thank you. Lady Roxy still wanted to say something, but I left before she could. I didn't want her getting involved with. Oh, there's a picture here. I really like this picture. It's really cool. This is actually a very. One, not only is it well drawn, but the emotions shown, the detail, and just the overall feel of it. I know it's just a still frame picture, but it basically feels like I'm watching an anime. And almost like I can imagine what the voice. Did they ever animate this? I won't try to look up the anime until after I finished book 5, which might be the end of it. I don't know. Maybe it's ongoing. Yeah, like I said, if anyone actually wants me to do a live stream at some point of showing off the books, I can do that. I'm sure there's other things I could show off. I have books, a lot of other books. I don't know what people would want to see. But, and it's like, I have, same as my taste in music. I listen to lots of different types of music. Sometimes I'll listen to a mix of like Rammstein, E-Nominee, and Pokemon soundtracks. And heck, you guys remember those songs from the Final Fantasy movie, Spirits Within? I think I tried to sing that at one point. Heck, maybe I'll try it again. Though I can't sing. My voice is epilepsy for your ears. So, hmm. There's actually 2 vocal songs in that movie. I suppose I could try both. Huh. But yeah, this picture is just. It's just amazing. And here's the thing. I know I make lewd jokes a lot. There's nothing lewd about this picture at all. Not in the slightest. It's just very heartfelt. It's well done. It's. Maybe it's just because I kept using the word 3D in the book, but there's nothing 3-dimensional about this, but it almost feels like the picture is like leaping off the page. It's just. If I see it on Google Images, I'll probably use it for the next picture. Either that or that thing with the moonlit sky. But yeah, like I said, if you guys want like a live stream at some point of me showing this book, great, I'll still wear the same black outfit that I wore originally when I first started the channel. Even though I haven't worn it since. Some because even the last live stream video I ever did, and I'm not. I said it would be the last one I would ever do, just because I feel uncomfortable being in front of a camera. Heck, I still feel stage fright just doing my Let's Plays or even reading this book. You'd think I would get over that by now. I thought I would anyway. But I guess not. I guess I'm always going to be awkward and nervous. Oh well. Well, back to the story. But again, I just can't say enough just how much it's just. And it's not that it's not just a matter of skill in terms of the picture. It's just. The picture is just. It's very good at conveying emotion. Not only how the characters feel toward each other and who they are on the inside, but it also makes you feel more strongly about, well, just your own emotions too. So, I'm sorry I don't know better words to describe this. Go back to the story. The Valeric family any more than she already was. There was no telling what underhanded tactics they used to get to her. And just imagining it sent me into a spiral of despair. I wanted Lady Roxy to forge ahead on her own path. I knew that whatever she ended up doing, it would be for the benefit of the people. I headed off to the local tavern to drown my sorrows. The moon was high in the sky by the time I arrived. Late nights were busy times for taverns. All manner of people, from merchants and travelers to harlots and the like, sat drinking until their faces went red. I took my usual spot at the counter, where the barkeep poured my usual wine without saying a word. It was the cheapest wine available and horribly acidic. Its sole purpose was getting one drunk, enough to forget one's sorry lot. Bread and soup, barkeep. You got it. My dinner was hard rye bread that had been left out for far too long, and tasteless soup made with vegetables left over from other dishes. I hadn't tasted meat in at least 5 years, and the last time I'd done so, it was a sliver of jerky. I couldn't even remember the aroma. Though my gluttony skill meant I was always hungry, I didn't have the money to satisfy my cravings. The best I could do was put off the hunger pangs by eating my food as slowly as possible. When I nibbled my bread and sipped my wine, the barkeep came over. How's the gatekeeping going? It's rough, I see. Well, I'd be praying that you don't end up like the guy before you. I didn't reply. It was said that the gatekeeper the Valeric family hired before I started had died of overwork. He hadn't been too different from me. Just another guy with barely a skill to his name. Over those relentless, punishing gatekeeping shifts, he became skinny and weak, and one day he simply collapsed and died like a puppet, whose strings were cut. The guy had died, still doing his duty, but when the Valerics found him, they trod all over his corpse and called him useless. The barkeep said he'd seen it with his own eyes. He said that even now he couldn't forget that tragic sight. It was burned into the very meat of his mind. So what's going to happen to me? I wondered. If Roxy hadn't stepped in while Raphael educated me, I might have ended up just another version of that awful, sorry story. I'd survived that day, but at this rate, my future didn't look as though it would be a long one. So far, this is a very interesting story, and I don't know if they ever animated this. If they have, I'm going to avoid looking it up, because I don't want to spoil myself in the story. And when it comes to novel 4, when I get that far, maybe I can find it online? So, yeah. Anyway. I had to yawn a bit. My back still hurts. And of course, my knees always hurt. Anyway, hope everyone out there had a wonderful day. I like this story. Let me know what you guys think about this story yourself. And yeah, if they haven't animated this, then by the time I get through it, if novel 5 is the end, which I don't know if it is, I hope one day they do animate it. Heck, if they haven't, I'm gonna start complaining and saying, "Please animate." Oh well. Later, guys.